Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is currently 9:03 p.m. on this freezing cold Tuesday evening going into Wednesday morning. It is currently 37 degrees outside. No precipitation in the air. It'll be a smooth flight between now and when we land. And I'll be getting you guys into bed right on time. There's my pilot's announcement before we take off. The flight attendants will be bringing you a drink in just a moment. Settle in, pick a movie, and here we go. Oh my gosh. I just left my in-laws' house. And it is Carlitos' birthday today. So we went to his, well, it's like a football game. I don't really know how it works with, like, I guess, kids playing football game. I don't know how it works. But anyway, it was like inside at this like huge sports pavilion place. And it was really kind of a cool thing. Actually, a friend of mine used to play in an adult soccer league, and I went to see one of her games one time, and it was indoors at a place like this. It was like this huge inside sports pavilion. Alex actually came to like a concert there last Memorial Day weekend. So he had been there before, but it's just like, you know, like they have like rafters on the second floor, and then like on the main floor is like all just like that turf, you know, that grass turf or whatever. It was really cool though. But anyway, we watched like the last half an hour of his like game. It's really kind of like half practice, half game. And then Liliana brought cupcakes and Gatorade for all the kids on the team. And then we went back to Carlos and Liliana's, and it was just Alex and myself, Carlos, Liliana, Alex's mom, and Carlitos and Sebastian. And they like had little cupcakes and they sang happy birthday, and it was fun. Feliz cumpleaños. And yeah, and we just kind of sat around and talked. And Carlitos has straight A's, so Liliana was showing us all about his grades. And then they were showing us their candy that they got trick-or-treating. And we were having them make Christmas lists of what they want for Christmas. I need to get started early on this stuff that I haven't already. Oh, God, everybody. Oh, my Lord. So anyway, that was tonight. And then today I got up and I just did a bunch of stuff around the house. And then I went and did a crumble cookies review. And then I went and got my coffee. And I've been meaning to take my car in for an oil change. So I finally got my car in today for an oil change. I got everything fixed on it, everything done, and I was real excited about that. I was very proud of myself that I actually went and did that. And then I came home and I made a drama video for my drama channel. And I wanted to make some other videos, but by that point it was time for me to get like in, take a shower. And so I took a shower, and then I got ready while the drama video was uploading. Got the made the thumbnail before all that. Fed the dogs as soon as I got home and stuff. Well, I filmed the drama video and then I fed the dogs. Gave Tucker his medicine. We're trying to give Tucker his medicine like earlier in the day, because supposedly if you give him like the Lasix like early in the morning, so Alex has been giving it to him like early in the morning when he gets up, and then 8 hours later, which is like between 3 and 4, it's not as likely for them to have like accidents and stuff like that late at night. And then Alex has been taking him out, you know, like in the evening and then like right before he goes to bed. And then when I come home from vlogging, I take him out again. But like each time, I forgot what this was like with pee-pee. Like each time he just like pees a ton. Like he has to go to the bathroom he has to go potty so bad. And he's drinking tons of water. Little guy. So I don't remember what I'm supposed to do here. I never remember which way I'm supposed to go. Back in the day, this was all cornfields. Now it's like all built up and stuff. Kind of busy out. I remember when Fufu in high school worked at this Charleston's right over here. We went in there one time when he was working. Maybe that was after high school. I feel like it was during when he was in high school though. So last night I finished. Did I finish it last night or did I finish it the night before? I can't remember. Behind the Horror? I think it was last night, late last night I finished it. Or yesterday afternoon. I don't know. Yesterday afternoon, yeah. Yesterday afternoon. Was that yesterday? Or was it Sunday? I feel like maybe it was yesterday. It was yesterday. I finished, I got a cup of coffee and I just like drove around and listened to Behind the Horror. Which was the book for True Crime Book Club. I probably talked about that last night. It was okay. I ended up like only giving it, I think I gave it like two or three stars. I wasn't that blown away with it, honestly. I just thought it was like, meh. I just thought it was okay. And then, is this Alex next to me over here? No. He said go home and take the dogs out. Then I'm going to vlog, and then I'm going to go home and hang out with him for a second before I listen to my audiobook. So then yesterday I started the chocolate chip cookie mysteries. It's the what's her name? Hannah Swenson series by Joanne Fluke. I actually really like it, and so I started that yesterday afternoon, and I listened to so much of it last night that I have an hour and 24 minutes left of it. It's really cute. It's about this woman. I probably talked about it last night. I think actually that's Alex right there, but I could be wrong. It's about this woman, and she moves back to this small town. She's like in her late 20s. And she moves back to this small town in Minnesota, where she's from, and her sister lives there, and she's married to this police detective, and her youngest sister's in college, and so she owns a bakery called the Cookie Jar. It's like a cookie shop, but it's called the Cookie Jar, and it's a coffee house / bakery. But I think she only makes cookies. Anyway, you know, like right at the beginning there's a mystery, which is how I love these, and somebody is killed in her, like the alley right behind the cookie jar, and he's holding one of her cookies, like when he is shot in the chest. So she's like helping her brother-in-law try to figure out who like killed this guy that was like a friend of hers. It's a pretty good mystery, honestly. So this is supposedly like one of the most famous cozy mysteries, and it's been made into a TV show. Like, I don't know if it was a made-for-TV movie or a made-for-TV show. I was going to pull it up and pull in somewhere. There's not really anywhere in here right now to pull off, but because I'm like on the highway, but you remember when I tell the story about my mom putting us in the ditch on Christmas Eve? That happened like right back over there, but this wasn't a highway then. This was literally, it was a highway, but it was like 2 lanes going that way and 2 ways coming back, which now it's like they've turned it into this huge highway. But anyway, I found this great definition for a cozy mystery the other day, and it was like, besides like the characters and the eccentric characters and all this kind of stuff, it was describing like the mystery aspect of a cozy mystery. And I think that's part of like what I really like about it is that unlike a lot of these like psychological thriller mysteries where you can't really figure out what's going on until the very last moment, with cozy mysteries, they typically, like, the author takes you along with them for the ride. So, like, as the character is kind of discovering what's going on, you are too, right? So typically with a cozy mystery, just like the main character in the book, you can figure out the mystery as you go. And so it kind of reminds me of, there are actually Agatha Christie books that are considered cozy mysteries, but kind of similar to like what you think of it like as an Agatha Christie book. The only thing is, with a lot of Agatha Christie books, in the very last minute, she introduces a character that is responsible for the whole thing, which I don't think is fair when you're reading a mystery. To be honest with you, if you want to see me get really turned off by a mystery, have me read 400 pages and in the last 5 introduce a character that's responsible for the murder. Like, that to me is such a cheat in a book. I cannot stand that. I cannot stand when that happens. I think that is so unfair to the reader. I don't think it's technically genius. I think it's actually, you really can't write a good mystery, because there is an art to writing a good mystery. It's very difficult to do. Okay, my battery died. I think it was the same battery that I was using to film my drama video earlier. So I had to pull into this like office building area, which is fine anyway, because the entrance was closed, or the entrance was shut down where I wanted to get off anyway. So anyway, I think I was talking about, well, I was talking about like books that like mysteries where they like cheat you, you know? And I've read some Agatha Christie books where I feel like she does that. There's like a lot of like psychological thrillers where I feel like they do that. Like, I read Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. I know there are people out there that love Ruth Ware, and I think, hey, read what you want to read what makes you happy. But I remember reading that book, and I just was so disappointed with it. I was so excited about that book because I felt like everywhere I turned, like, that book was being marketed as like the best thriller of that year. And I just felt like when I read it, and this is the thing that, you know, when you know a little bit about the writing industry, which is like disturbing to me, is that if you're somebody that's worked in the industry, which she has worked in the industry, she has a lot of connections. So to get her book marketed or to be on like the best of lists at like Barnes and Noble or whatever, you know, like there's a lot of like behind the scenes on like getting your book on like a bestseller list, like New York Times bestseller list, things like that. There's a lot of like behind the scenes of how that stuff happens. It's not just based on sales. And so, you know, when I'm going into bookstores and I'm seeing Ruth Ware, Woman in Cabin 10, best thriller of the year, and I'm like, well, I read it, and I don't think it's the best thriller by any means, and I read a lot of thrillers, and I'll be real honest about whether or not I like a thriller or not, you know? I just remember reading that book, and I thought so much of it was just, like, unrealistic, number one. Number two, I felt like a lot of the things that happened in the book were really convenient, and I think that's unfair when you're reading a mystery. Like, Do you ever read okay, Misfortune, like the Jana De Leon books, like they're really good mysteries because they're fair and they make sense, but they also have stuff that like you would never think about and that they would be in there, right? Like you're reading them and you're like, oh wow, like I never would have expected that, right? But it's fair in the context of the book. But when you're reading a book and the author just like pulls something out of thin air as like an excuse for why a character would do something, that to me is a cheat, okay? That to me is like in the realm of, you know, like what would really happen or what wouldn't happen. I feel like that's completely unfair. I feel like, to me, honestly, that feels like a mystery writer that isn't a very good mystery writer but wants to write a mystery. So they cheat their way to the end of the mystery instead of actually giving, like, building a mystery. I mean, it's a difficult thing to write a mystery on top of being a skilled writer, a good character a person that has a tough time developing characters, a good storyline and plot. On top of that, you have to write a believable mystery, and you have to write a believable, solvable mystery. So it's really difficult to write mysteries. But I think a lot of people, because I've read my fair share of mysteries, and I'm just like, people are driving crazy tonight. I don't know what it is. Car almost just like pulled out right in front of me. But to read, I just think there are a lot of mystery books out there that they're not fair to the reader. And I felt like Woman in Cabin 10 was one of those. The other one was, and I'm going to ruin this for you, okay? Just so you know. I think it was called We Were Here by E. Lockhart. And this book was so pushed marketing-wise. It was John, I had never read anything by E. Lockhart before. I think that's the name. And John Green, I can remember, pushed this book so hard and was like, one of the best books I've read all year, couldn't put this book down, yada, yada, yada. And so I read it because of that, because I love John Green, right? I mean, to get your stamp from like a massive author like that on your book is like, you're going to sell through the roof right then, right? So I read this book and I remember being so disappointed in it. And let me tell you. So the book is about this family, and they each, like, there's like 3 daughters or something. They live on this island, and they each have a house on this island. And this girl thinks that one of the houses is being haunted or something. I can't remember. It's like a haunting kind of book. It's a young adult book, but she's like from the city of New York, and then they go to this like Long Island or somewhere every summer, and they're like this big old rich family, and they're very like eccentric and stuff. And I don't really, it's been a couple years since I read the book. All I know is at the very end of the book, you find out that they're all dead. Okay, it's very much like The Others, except in The Others, it was like there were clues that actually led to the fact that she, you know, like when you get to the end of that movie. This was not like that. There were no clues. I read that book straight through, and I can remember thinking, I can remember, and I just being so done when I got done with that book that I was like, this is such crap. Like, there was nothing at all. I remember something to do with being on the roof. Like, they were sitting on the roof of this house. I can see the cover in my head. And I even said later, because E. Lockhart's written several books, that I would give her another chance and maybe see what I thought. And I bought like 2 more books of hers or something. But I think it's a she, I don't know. But I was so disappointed in that book. And I mean to tell you, I read reviews from people that were like, this is the greatest book I've ever read. Oh my God, I thought, we did not read the same book. This book is crap. Like, I am so disappointed with this book. I just think it's a cheat. And I think when there are like really great mysteries out there, and then you read these books that are so pumped up to be like, I mean, I read a lot of books that are like not, you don't hear about them on bestseller lists or whatever, you know? every once in a while, like that book that I read, I think it was like this summer, and it was called The Last Thing He Told Me. That was a good book. Like, that was a great mystery. And that was a good example of being able to follow the main character along while you're discovering what the mystery is, which I think is a sign of a good mystery, right? That's been on a bestseller list for a long time now. Like, that was, I think, a fair mystery that was on there. You know, Girl on the Train by Paul Hawkins. Girl in the Red Coat by Kate Hamer. Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. The Sarah Pinborough book, too, Beneath Her Eyes or Behind Her Eyes. That was a great mystery. There's been some really great mysteries we've had the last couple years, but then there's been a lot that I just have felt like... I can remember with Ruth Ware, when I complained about her so much in videos, people were like, if you didn't like Woman in Cabin 10, you're gonna really hate her previous book, which I'd already bought on Audible, and I was like, great. Something in the Woods, or maybe it's just called In the Woods, I don't know. I have it, and I've never listened to it. I should probably listen to it and give Ruth Ware another chance, but I don't know that I want to dedicate 10 hours of my life to that. And I think that's kind of the thing with cozy mysteries, you know, is like, I'm at a point where I read because I enjoy it. I read because it helps me escape, you know, from just mundane life. I read because it helps me enter another world where I get to meet all these fascinating characters and whatever. Like, I want to read a book that I know is going to make me happy or that's going to be enjoyable. I don't want to read a book that I'm going to put 12 or 15 hours into it and then just walk away on the other side and be like, what did I just waste 12 to 15 hours on? You know what I mean? At the same time, I have a really hard time DNFing a book, which means do not finish. Like, I have a really, really, really hard time just being like, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to finish this book. Because by the time that I feel okay to do that, I've already put like an hour or two into the book, you know, or 50 to 100 pages. And so I feel like I really have a hard time doing that at that point. So I very rarely DNF a book, but I don't know. But needless to say, it's Cozy Mystery Month, and I've already started, so I'm going to finish it tonight, and then I think... Uh-oh, my husband's calling me. I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. He was asking me where the other Amazon box was, because, like, when Amazon boxes are delivered, he gets a picture of it, I guess, or something. I don't know. But anyway, I don't get pictures of it. I don't know why. But anyway, and he was like, where's the other box? And I was like, what do you mean, where's the other box? And he goes, there were 2 Amazon boxes, because he had ordered dog food. Because he always orders the dog food through Amazon. And I said, the other box was mine. And I said it was a book, because I bought the book for the book club, True Crime Book Club, for a True Crime Book Club this month, so I can take a picture of it. And I also like to have a physical copy, so if there's pictures and stuff. And I also bought a huge bottle. It was even, I think, cheaper than the one, maybe not. I was going to say it was cheaper than the one at Costco, but maybe not, of Aleve. I bought 270 Aleve. Because then what I do is, so anyway, I was telling him, that's what it was. I have this little bottle of Aleve, and then I fill it up, like with a bigger bottle, and then I keep the bigger bottle at home, which is so much easier. But anyway, yeah, I finished that cozy. Well, I haven't finished that. I've got an hour and 24 minutes to finish that cozy, and then I am going to. I think I'm gonna start the, what do you call it, one? The one that's about the woman whose husband has a Ponzi scheme and she goes and stays in the RV park. I think I want to start that one because I want to see if I really, really like that one. And then I also need to make a list of the ones that are more Christmas themed, and then as the closer I get to Thanksgiving and Christmas, I can read those. So today was a successful day. It was a good day. It was a good day. I mean, I think that I brought this bottle of water with me from Carlos and Liliana's. They were all having hot dogs, and Carlos made me a grilled cheese sandwich. And then I had some of the kids' candy. I think any day that I'm somewhat content and I get things accomplished and I try to be a positive contribution to the world, I think those are good days, you know? So funny when I look back on my life, like how much of my life I spent for just looking at those 5-star days, you know, those 10s out of 10s. That if it wasn't that and something super exciting wasn't happening or whatever, then it wasn't like the greatest day ever. But I don't feel like that anymore. I like the simple days more than I used to. Back in the day, I always like looked for like, you know, oh, doing this or doing that. And I did kind of miss going to my meeting tonight, though. I will say that. I mean, I'm glad that I was with the family for Carlitos' birthday, but so weird. I was like standing there and we were sitting there watching like this little team play football, and I was thinking to myself, this is so strange. Like, you know, 10 years from now he's going to be in college, and it seems like it was just yesterday that he was born, you know? It seems so bizarre. Sebastian was so sweet. He was playing with his little Ninja Turtles. And I was like, now who's that? And he said, Donatello. And I said, Versace? He said, he just looked at me and he goes, no. He goes, T.O. Peter, there's only one Donatello. And I said, I know. I said, I was talking about Donatello. And he goes, what? He goes, T.O. Peter, this is Donatello. And I said, I know. He's a Ninja Turtle. And he goes, yeah. He so reminds me of myself when I was his age, because he just sits there and plays by himself, and he like sets all these little like animals, he like just little simple like animals, like a little chicken, you know, and he has it like setting, he lines them up on his bed, and he like, if you like stand outside, you can hear him like creating these stories, and he's like talking to them and stuff. I mean, that is like so, that was so me back in the day. Carlitos is like FaceTiming his friend, his best friend, and so we asked him what he wanted for his birthday or for Christmas, and he said an iPhone 13. He doesn't have a phone, by the way. So after like they were in their beds and stuff like that, I came out and I said, "Are you guys? You're not really thinking about getting him a phone for Christmas, are you?" And Carlos was like, no. And Liliana was like, She's like, maybe a flip phone. And I go, Carlitos does not need an iPhone 13 for his birthday. They're like, for Christmas. And they're like, oh, no, not at all. I'm like, oh, please do not do that. I acted out having like the rotary phone for Carlitos. I said, Carlitos, when I was your age, we had a phone that was like in the kitchen, and I like acted like I picked it up and I said hello, and I walked across the room, and then I like hid in like this room, and I said in their bedroom, and I said, this would be like back in the day, I'd be on the phone and I'd be in here like, you know, having a conversation with my friend, and my mom would pick up the phone upstairs. Oh my gosh. I know that there are kids that are real small that have like iPhones and stuff like that. I think it's just because like, I don't know, like here's one of the things that's interesting to me is like, I know parents are like, well, my kids need to have a phone in case I need to get a hold of them. Well, personally, between you and I, like, I don't think I said to Carly just looked at me tonight and he looked like I just he was like, well, T.O. Peter, I want an iPhone 13. And I said, well, I can tell you how T.O. Peter feels about that. T.O. Peter doesn't feel like you need a phone before you're 16 years old. That's just how T.O. Peter feels. I said, if your parents want to get you a phone, that's on you, or Santa Claus or whoever. I said, but T.O. Peter thinks you're just completely fine until 16. I don't really think kids should be that far out of their parents' reach anyway. And it's not like we hear these miraculous stories on the news that a 10-year-old is kidnapped and is saved because of him having or she having a cell phone. We never hear those stories. So the reality is cell phones aren't like saving lives, okay? And I know that parents are like, well, I just want to like, I don't, you know, like if I need to get a hold of them, but what do you need to do to get, I know there's going to be a lot of parents when I talk about this in my vlog that are going to be like, I totally disagree with this and whatever. What do you need to get in touch with your kid for so bad at that age that you shouldn't be in control of their life already? Like, you know what do you know what I'm saying? Like, I was with my parents all the time when I was that age, always. Like, the only time I wasn't was the rare occasions when I did have friends that I was over at their house or whatever, and then my mom could have just called their mom and said, well, is he okay? Like, there didn't need to be me having a cell phone, you know, and all that kind of business. I just feel like cell phones open access to all kinds of things that kids don't need to open access to. That's how I feel about it. So, you know, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, he's like on his mom's phone looking at TikToks earlier. And I'm like thinking to myself, there's a lot of TikToks that I don't know that I would want my kid to watch. And they're like really strict with them about stuff like that. Like they have to be sitting like right there when they're looking at that stuff and doing stuff like that. So they're like really strict with that stuff. But, you know, I don't know. All my friends' kids are on the TikTok, looking at the TikTok and all this kind of stuff, you know. And it's like, we're looking at YouTube videos or whatever. But that's just how I feel about cell phones. And I think that this is really what happens, because tonight, I mean, this kid started pouting when I told him that I didn't believe in cell phones until 16. You would have thought I shot his dog, and they don't even have one. You know what I mean? I mean, he looked so sad. T.O. Peter doesn't believe in cell phones till you're 16. No, I don't. I'm sorry. And I think that one of the things is that we have a hard time telling kids no these days, you know? And that's what it is. You know, what do you want for your birthday? An iPhone 13? Well, you're not getting one. Well, what do you want for Christmas? An iPhone 13? Well, you're not getting one. I mean, we can't tell kids anymore no about stuff, right? And you're like, please, Mom, I have to have an iPhone 13. And parents get so tired of hearing about it that they just go buy the iPhone 13, right? Because that's easier. Oh, well, we have a family plan, and it just costs $600 to put them on the family plan. And I just, you know, they were complaining. And it just makes me feel safer anyway. We make all these excuses up when the reality is that parents just don't want to tell their kids no. Your 10-year-old does not need an iPhone 13, end of story, period. Okay, that's how I feel about it. Please feel free to share your opinions in the comment section below. But unless there's some like, and I'm not saying that there aren't unique excuses or examples to that rule, but like most kids don't need an iPhone 13. Most kids don't even need a phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like I don't know. It's just, to me, it's like, I remember I wanted a pager so bad, and I didn't even have any friends. My dad said, what do you need a pager for? And I was like, Dad, I just want a pager. And he was like, and I remember my cousin Caroline had a pager, and this is when I was probably 12 and Caroline was like 15 and she had a pager. Do you guys remember this? If you're my age, you'll remember. People are like, pagers. We wanted pagers so bad. You pull that pager out and look at that number. It was like the coolest thing. And I will never forget. Well, first of all, I was not allowed to throw a fit. I was just not allowed to throw temper tantrums and fits if I didn't get my way as a kid. My dad would so quick say to me, I mean, I can remember this. If we were somewhere and I even just slightly, my dad would just say, we'll go home. We'll go, if you can't behave like, you're getting treated to be an adult tonight. And if you can't act like an adult, then we'll just go home. Because you're not acting appropriately right now, you know? We're gonna just go home. And I knew that meant shut my mouth, right? My mom was the same way. But I can remember I said to my dad, I can't remember where we were, but my dad asked me something like, well, what do you want? And I said, I want a pager. And he goes, what? And I wanted a pager so bad because Caroline had a pager, right? And he goes, no, you're not having a pager. He goes, only drug dealers have pagers. And I was like, My cousin Caroline is a drug dealer. I thought she was after that. And she wasn't. I mean, maybe she was, I don't know. But I'm just saying, I don't know if she was or not. I hope she wasn't. I'll have to ask her now. Oh my God, she was taking on our grandma's ways. But no, truly. But I wanted a pager so bad. And some of, like, when I was in high school, well, those girls that became my friends, some of them had pagers, and I was so jealous. But one of my friends, she was a drug dealer. Well, I mean, we all kind of were. Middleman. That's what we always said. I'm a middleman. I'm not really a dealer. I'm a middleman. Oh my gosh. Now, Tanya, I texted her and I said, do you want to get a fountain pop? And she said, no, I'm watching a movie, right? And so I said, okay. I said, do you think you'll want to get a fountain pop tonight? Because I'm trying to plan my evening, see? And she said, oh, probably not tonight. Or she said, probably not. And I swear to God, I can't read what it says, but I think she just texted me, fountain with a question mark. Because she knows I want a fountain now. I'll go up here to the post office and I'll pull in and see what it says. But that's how I feel about all that kind of stuff, you know? And I also think, let's keep kids as long as possible. Like, they don't need to have all that kind of stuff. Hell, 10-year-olds are wanting to be 25 and 30-year-olds, you know? That's part of the problem that we have with all of these influencers on YouTube. I was watching these pictures of this party of Kendall Jenners or whoever, and all these influencers were going to it, and I'm like, these influencers are like 18 years old going to this like adult party, you know? I'm like, Kendall Jenner is not 18 anymore. Let's just be for real, right? And I'm looking at this and I'm like, I don't know, this is just as a society, I feel like there's a lot of parents. I feel like it's split kind of down the middle. I feel like there's a lot of parents that want to keep their kids as long as possible, which I'm totally all for that, right? I think one of the only things that saved my butt, is that my parents didn't know what I was really doing behind the scenes early on. But the second thing is that they treated me age appropriately. I mean, like at 12 years old, I was treated like a 12-year-old. At 13-year-olds, even though I was drinking and stuff, they didn't know that. But, like, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like I do know a lot of parents that are still like that want to keep their kids, like, their age. But then I feel like I meet just as many parents, I mean, friends of mine and stuff like that are like, I'll say something like, oh, your daughter is rather adult for her age, you know, because she's 10 and comes to some dinner party with full makeup on. What's that about? No. You know what I mean? We don't need to be doing all that. And she'll say, oh, she thinks she's 35. She's like my mini-me. And I'm like, she's 10. You don't need a mini-me. That's for you, not her, okay? That's because you need a little mini-me because you want to have a little friend to do things with. She's 10. She's not your co-partner in this, okay? You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes me sad. And they're always like, oh, she's like my mini-me. She just wants to be like me. And I had to get her a cell phone for Christmas. Well, first of all, because it's just safe that way. And then I always know where she's at. But she just loves to talk to her friends on her cell phone, and she's always texting, and we go get pedicures and manicures together. She's 10, okay? Let her play with her Barbies and act that fantasy out. She's 10. Let her be 35 when she's 35. Hell, it's not that much fun anyway. You know what I mean? It's like, give me a break. It's unreal to me. I feel a rant video coming on. But true story, it's just like, can we just let kids be kids? Like, seriously, it makes me so sad. And then, like, if you've known people long enough, like, then when their kids get engaged, you know, or they're like, they actually are 25 or, you know, 35 or whatever. And, well, I don't know a lot of people that have 35-year-olds, but a few. But they're like 25, and they're like, I can't believe they're getting married. Just yesterday she was 10 and playing with Barnabies. And you want to look at her at that wedding and go, that is a damn lie, okay? At 10 years old, you were making her mocktails saying that she was your mini-me. Like, let's call it out for what it is, okay? You didn't ever want a 10-year-old. Hell, you didn't even want a kid to begin with. You wanted a mini-me at birth. That's why you were dressing her up like your twin. You know, it's like, it's just ridiculous to me. Let kids be kids. That's why my brother and sister-in-law, I love them to death, because they just sit there. It's like, I mean, the kids are just kids, and it just makes me so happy, you know. A little Sebastian lining up his toys on the edge of his bed tonight. That was me as a kid, you know. I think kids emulate their parents enough anyway. I mean, my mom knew this, so I didn't need to have a lot of these conversations with her, but let's just be for real. A lot of the reasons why I drank at such a young age was because I was emulating my mother, you know? And I'd see her watch a movie and have a couple drinks. And so what did I want to do? Watch a movie and have a couple drinks. And then after I had those couple drinks and I got that buzz the first couple times, well, I really wanted the buzz. And that's what it was about, right? But I didn't need to be doing any of that. It makes me sad when I look back on it. I was 12 and 13 years old, drinking in my bedroom at my dad's house, watching movies like a 50-year-old. Like, that is sad. Like, that's sick. It's sad, you know? And, like, my mom, she knew, like, I started using early, but she really never knew, like, the hardcore details of it. And I think that more than anything, like, that image of me sitting there at 13, 12 years old watching, you know, I don't know, some Out of Africa or something. I don't even know what movies were out at that point, you know, drinking like a gin and tonic or something because I'd seen my parents. Like, that would have, like, because I'd seen, like, my mom drink that or something, like, that would have broken my mom's heart. Like, seriously, that would have broken my mom's heart. And just to put this in perspective for you, at 12 years old, I looked 12 years old, if not younger. Like, until I was like 20, like, I mean, I got carded until I was like 30, you guys. Like, I looked young. And so, just imagine that, you know, this 12 or 13-year-old in pajamas, drinking a gin and tonic, watching a movie. It's sad watching a movie. I mean, it's sad reality. What was that? Like, that doesn't even make any sense, you know? That's addiction, first of all. But I don't know. I feel like there's a huge part of me that just is like, looks back on that and feels like I didn't. That was all like, I don't know. It just makes me sad. Let's see what Tanya Jean said. Hold on. She said fountain. Tanya is like wanting to go get a fountain now. I guess her movie is over. Dun 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 dun. Hey, hey, hey. Goodbye. Erica J, spelled completely different, said, I wish we could do a Polar Express watch party. That would be so fun. I am also a shameless homebody, borderline hermit. I have work to make my home so cozy because it's my favorite place to be. Oh my God, I love that. Hold on just a second. Tanya Gina's. She's asking me what time. Hey, hey, hey. Okay. Anne said, yes, do a 3-hour vlog. Jacqueline said, some of Peter's favorite things: lip gloss, chapstick, cookies, hot coffee, cozy mysteries, driving around, candles, pens, notebooks, lists, dogs, smelling good, bird ornaments. Oh my God, I forgot about the bird ornaments. Something like that. I could keep going, but I have to wash the dishes. Okay. I'm getting texted by like multiple people at the same time. Diana said, my favorite person in the middle of the night. Love you lots. Stay safe. Love to the pups. Love you. Be too much. Get some sleep. Take care. You deserve a break. Oh, you are so sweet. So Maricela said, kudos to Melissa. Paige said, I'm new to the vlogs. Do you drive at the same time each night? And are you driving somewhere in particular? Okay, I get this question from people that are new all the time. No, I'm not driving in particular. I take different routes, and it really is just kind of whenever I feel like it. Tonight I'm vlogging early because I want to listen to my audiobook later. So I'm vlogging like from 9-ish to 10-ish. And then sometimes I go and I take a nap at like 10 or 11, and then I wake up at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and this car is driving by. Oh, that scared me so bad. And then I will, so if I, what was I gonna say? If I take a nap and then I wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, that's when I vlog. Sometimes I vlog as late as 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. If I sleep all night long, sometimes I vlog the next day. I've been using that, not every time, but sometimes I've been using, I think my hair looks kind of nice tonight. I've been using that Oribe shampoo and conditioner, Silverado or whatever, but I think it really like takes out the yellow, and I think it really pulls the white and silver out. I really like it. And no, I'm never driving anywhere in particular, unless I go to the casino to meet Ballerini, but I'm not doing that. Okay. So, but welcome, Paige, to the vlog. I appreciate you coming over. Sarah said, hello, Peter. Been looking forward to the vlog all day. I'm ready for Christmas already, and I'm already in the spirit. Stephanie said, just got flannel sheets with cats on them. Cozy cuddling with the kitties. Kimberly said, it is fall here in Oklahoma. Monet said, hello, Peter. I started reading a Christmas romance with a Christmas tree. It's about a woman and a man who have known each other since they were kids and are falling for each other. It's very good and funny. Nicole said, I just got some cozy Christmas sheets today at Target. Oh, I might have to go to Target and look. Lynn said, my both parents made our Christmases growing up magical. Now that they both passed away, Christmas is no longer the same. I guess that's why I love watching all the Christmas Hallmark movies. I live through the Hallmark actors. Okay, that is from Lynn. So Lynn, I want to address that comment. Hold on. Okay, Lynn, let me tell you something. My cousin Caroline and I talk about this all the time. We really had magical Christmases. You know, even with all of the drinking and coming from an alcoholic family, and my mom and my aunt both drinking alcoholically, you know, it was, and for a long time, I didn't really say much about my aunt and her drinking because I didn't feel like that was my story until Caroline kind of like said one day, like, she's your aunt. I mean, you were just as close to her as you know everybody else. So, but there was tons of drinking in our family. I mean, it was a lot, you know? And if it wasn't just my mom and my aunt, then it was friends and whatever. But I almost kind of think in retrospect, a lot of that was what added to the Christmases that we had. I mean, my aunt on Christmas Eve would have this huge Christmas kind of, I feel like it was Christmas Day night. I need to ask Caroline about it because I know we stayed over there. It would have been Christmas Day night because it was after Christmas was gone, and my aunt would bring out all the extra food and people would come over, and it was Christmas music, and you know, it was loud, and it was like Caroline and I would always get in the edge of this one couch in the living room, and the place was going, and my aunt would have all these little kerosene, like she had these glass kerosene little lamps. I loved them, and on this glass table, I could just remember Caroline and I in our pajamas, just sitting there listening to all the adults talk and stuff, and it was so much fun. And you know, we would run around and get little treats and snacks, and it just was fun. It was so much fun. And but you know, like Christmas Eve was always very dressy, and we all dressed up, and you know, it was always something like beef Wellington or, oh my God, nonstop texts. Beef beef Wellington or something very fancy on Christmas Eve. And you know, we would always open one present. The present would always be pajamas. And it was candlelight and fireplace, you know. And then, now my aunt and uncle and Caroline always opened their presents on Christmas Eve. My mom and I, we always opened our presents on Christmas Day. And so we would open our presents, and then we would go over to my aunt and uncle's house about 2 o'clock, and we would have Christmas Day at their house. Long before that, we used to do Christmas Eve at my aunt and uncle's house, but then there was the one year that my mom put, I'm just saying it how she used to say it. She'd say, that one Christmas Eve when I put you and your grandma in the ditch, because my mom had been drinking and driving, and she felt horrible about it her whole life. It was like her one big thing. I can't imagine why she felt bad about that and didn't feel bad about lying her entire life to me about stuff, but I'm just saying. So anyway, after that, we always had Christmas Eve at our house, so my mom didn't have to drive. But on Christmas Day, we would go over to my aunt and uncle's house at like 2 in the afternoon, and then we would have like a big dinner, like turkey dinner and stuff like that. And then we would stay there that night. I feel like sometimes maybe like my dad and my stepmom and I went on some trip, like the 26th or 27th, and he would come and pick me up from there. I don't know why I feel that way, but look at that. That's something you don't see, as a truck pulling a FedEx truck. That's kind of funny. I mean, not funny, haha, but just kind of like interesting, right? So anyway, but you know, Caroline and I were talking about this because when we did the video together, she said something about we always had magical Christmases, and we did. Like, even amidst all the drinking and the alcoholism, like, we had really magical Christmases. I mean, like, memorable, magical Christmases. Just candlelit and beautiful, and the food was amazing, and pretty music, and everybody dressed. I mean, they were magical Christmases. They were like, literally, you know, when I was talking about renting the farmhouse, the 3 bedrooms. I mean, they were those kind of Christmases. They were Christmases that you see in Hallmark movies, you know? They really, really were. And, I mean, scrap it all away, and behind the scenes, it just was a lot of, like, really sick drinking. But I don't know that how aware of that I was as a kid, because it just was everything was so pretty to me, you know, and so magical. And there was always just, you know, this air about, is Santa coming, and all, you know, Santa was always just this big deal, you know, and everything like that. And the adults totally, you know, like, were always like, Santa this and Santa that. I mean, it was just really cool. And so just Christmases were magical. And Caroline, even in that video, she said something about that. She said, don't you think our Christmases were really magical? And I was like, yeah, I do, you know. And so there was that. It stopped, and I didn't know it was at the end, so I don't know how long I've been talking. But what I was saying was that Caroline, in the video that we did, was talking about, like, what magical Christmases we had, right? And after that, at some point, we decided that my mom is gone, my aunt's gone, my uncle's gone, you know, it's time to start creating new traditions and whatever. And, like, us going to get Chinese food last year, like, that was so much fun. Caroline, like, waiting in the car, and the car being freezing cold, and, you know, like, that whole thing was so much fun. And Caroline and I having that story to tell. And then, like, you know, Caroline and her stepson and his wife, like, they're so into games that they always play games. But, like, Alex and I have started staying on Christmas Day and playing games late and stuff like that. Not late till 10 o'clock at night, but, you know, playing a couple rounds games. It's really fun, you know? And that's something that we've been doing the last couple years, and we really enjoy it and have a good time with it. So, yeah, it's fun. I was talking to my mother-in-law tonight because she was like, are you going to go Black Friday shopping the day after Thanksgiving? And I said, well, I want to. She goes, at the outlet mall? And I said, well, I want to. I said, but the stores don't open. I looked up online, and they open at 6 a.m. and they close at 9 p.m. And Alex is like, well, I heard that none of the stores are having sales this year. And I go, well, it's an outlet mall, so they'll have sales. No, I heard that none of them were having sales. I said, well, I'm going to look and see. I said, I'll probably still go down there anyway. So I think what I'm going to do, what you're going to do is, It's a little story about my good friend Tanya Jean. We went to On the Border one time. Okay, this is literally, at this point, this has been probably 20 years ago, honestly. I mean, I bet it has been 20 years, if not 15 to 20 years ago, because we were with my ex. It was Tanya and I, my ex. So my ex and I and Tanya, and then this girl that worked for her. And the four of us went to On the Border, and this woman like messed up Tanya's order so bad, and the burrito came out, and the girl was really rude, and Tanya had it. And Tanya is like always so nice to, like, when you're at restaurants and stuff like that, to like people that are serving, and she's always just like over the top, you know. And this woman had just like screwed everything up possible, and Tanya like was very patiently asking for stuff, and the girl was being like straightforward rude to Tanya. And I, like, at that point had never really seen Tanya kind of like lose her stuff, you know. And so this girl was snapped at Tanya, and she said, well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna mark the guacamole off your list, but I'll still, because Tanya was asking for a burrito to take home to her husband Eric, and she had asked like 3 times, and the girl kept on not putting it in. And so she like snapped at Tanya, and she goes, what I'm gonna do is take the guacamole. And Tanya stopped her, and she goes, what you're gonna do is, okay, you're gonna take that guacamole off because it came out here late. Number 1, I asked for it before the food, not with the food. Number 2, you're gonna take my burrito off the bill. Number 3, you're gonna bring my husband's burrito out, and it's gonna be off the bill too. So I'll be paying for my soft drinks, and if you have a problem with that, go get the manager, and I'll talk to the manager about it. And the girl just looked at Tanya, and she goes, I'm waiting. She had it. I had never seen Tanya like that before in my life, and I think I've only ever seen her like that once or twice since. And the manager came out and was so apologetic to Tanya, and she was like, I am so sorry. She was like, we have had so many problems with her. And Tanya was like, well, I'm just, you know, like, I have been as patient as I possibly can, and I have been as nice as I possibly can, and I don't ever get like this, but I'm not going to have somebody snapping in my face. She's like, it's just not going to happen. Tanya doesn't, that kind of stuff in her face, finger pointing, Tanya doesn't like, she doesn't do real well with that stuff. I've seen her turn on her heels and walk away from somebody that's like pointing in her face. She's like, oh, you're not gonna point in my face. I love Tanya, she keeps it real. So what was I saying? I don't know. Start new traditions, start some new things, you know. It's fun. And I am grateful for my in-laws, you know. It's like I said to my mother-in-law tonight, I said, because she's going to do like Christmas at her house. And I said, well, what time are you, because it's always on Christmas Eve. And I said, well, what time are you thinking on Christmas? And she's like, the usual 7:38, you know, because they always do it late, and then they have dinner at like 9. And then I said, okay, because we'll go to Caroline's first. And she's like, well, what time will that be? I said, well, we always do Caroline's early, like 4 or 5 on Christmas Eve. So we'll we'll be over here by, you know, 7:30. The only problem with that is that I'm so tired the next day, or that I'm so tired that night by like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. They're like they're like on their, you know, 5th round of music and drinks, and I'm like, I am ready to go home and go to sleep. But back in the day, it used to really bother me, and I would be like I couldn't sleep there, I couldn't fall asleep at the house, or I'd be like, I'm gonna wait until Alex is ready to go. Now I'm just like, if he wants to stay, he can stay. I'll come pick him up on the way to Caroline's tomorrow, or whatever, because we always go to Caroline's on Christmas Day, you know. And I'm just like, he can stay and whatever. So, but he hasn't done that the last couple years. Well, last year they were out of town. They were in Texas. So this year they're back in town. Well, obviously. And I think that Fufu and his girlfriend are coming, but they sometimes, like, they do Christmas, like, they'll do Christmas Eve at her parents' house, because she lives, like, an hour, her parents are from, like, an hour and a half north of here, and then they'll come down here Christmas Day early. But then they always leave before New Year's. I think Alex's cousin is coming from Las Vegas, but she's leaving, like, on the 26th. I don't know. Alex and I were talking about it tonight. Alex and I we'll have to see, plan a trip somewhere in January. we were like, if January is cheaper to go somewhere than over New Year's, then we'll just, I might just have to buy, you know, just be like, okay, go out for that one night. Or go out to some dinner or something and then get dressed cute. Go out to some club where the Alex can be at with his friends, kiss him at midnight, and then be like, peace out. That'd save me a couple $1,000s versus going out of the country for New Year's. You know what I mean? Because he said to me tonight, he's like, there's going to be things to do here, but they're going to be things that you're not going to want to do. And I said, well, we can just negotiate, you know? And, you know, it is what it is. But, like, I don't really know that I care so much about going to a club if we're just going to be there, you know, for... If I'm going to be there from, like, 10:30 to midnight, and then I'll just peace out right afterwards. I don't care. It's just not that big of... It's just such an amateur night to me. I really don't care about New Year's. My sobriety birthday and Christmas and my birthday, like, are 3 big spiritual holidays for me. But this person just, like, totally turned and stared and looked at me like, he was like... But New Year's Eve, like, I like to do, like, you know, not necessarily New Year's resolutions, but, you know, like, dreams and goals for the next year. But I do that stuff on my sobriety birthday. I do that stuff on my birthday. So it's not like I necessarily have to do it, you know, like... I don't know. Oh, man. Oh. Well, I'm going to turn around up here, and then I'm going to go get Tanya Jean Applestein, prettiest girl I've ever seen. Get her. I'm going to go get a cup of coffee. I do not want... I got this cup of coffee at Dunkin' Donuts earlier. Look, they have their Christmas cups out. What do you think of that? This guy's looking at me. He cannot figure out what I'm doing. I'm vlogging. Don't even worry about it. I'm a vlogger of the world. He's like some like teenager. It's always that. It's always the teenagers that are like, they notice the camera. It's like adults never see it. You know what I mean? Like they don't get it. They're like, what is that, a GPS? I'm like, no, it's a camera. But anyway, Dunkin' Donuts has their Christmas cups out. Do you see? They had them out before Halloween. Because I got one of these before Halloween, but I didn't show it. Aren't they pretty? Pretty is as pretty does. So anyway, I'm going to turn around up here, and I'm going to go take Tanya to get a fountain pop, and I'm going to get a cup of coffee. And then I'm going to go home, and Alex will still be home, because it's only 10:10 right now. He'll still be home. He'll still be up until like 12 or 12:30. So after I get done, I'll go home and hang out with him for a little bit. And then I'm going to finish my audiobook. So see? Win-win all around. It's been a good day today, so... Anyway, if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. I love you. And I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Wednesday. And I'm turning around. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya.